Hello, this is Goku for the Someone, and I'm back with a review. I don't do a lot of reviews, and this is more of an initial review. I plan to do a more in-depth, spoilered review of this game in the future, and I hope to do some more reviews. I don't do a lot of reviews because I don't get around to doing them in time. Like, when the summer blockbuster movies come out, I plan to do reviews of those, but that's going to be as they come out. And the point is, you have to do a review at a certain point, or you're not going to get a lot of viewers, and if I'm not doing this to get viewers, then what am I doing this for? If I'm not helping somebody decide if they should or should not see a movie, then why am I doing a review? If somebody asks me to do a review a certain way, I'll definitely do it. If they want my thoughts on something, I'll give individual thoughts to people, obviously in a video, mainly for that one person, but this is mainly for people that are on the fence of this game. It's called Metroid Other M. Metroid Other M was released in August 31st, 2010 for the Nintendo Wii. Now, this is, first of all, going to be a spoiler-free review. I'm doing this because a lot of people have really given this game a lot of flack. And I think ill-willed. I think a lot of people, like, I've listened to a couple blogs, or a couple podcasts, and one podcast was fairly positive. Like they had complaints, and I definitely have complaints about this game. And the other one was just they want to say, is this even considered a Metroid game? Now, there are things I cannot talk about in this review, so I do plan to give a more in-depth of Samus's character, how they portray Samus's character in this game, because that's where most of the flack comes from. But a lot of people say the story's bad, the gameplay's bad, and that's false. First off, the story. The story is actually very simple. Basically, Samus gets a distress call, or the game actually opens up, sorry about that. The game actually opens up with the final battle of Super Metroid. Not to go into much details, but the baby Metroid from Metroid 2 ends up dying, saving her life. And she's kind of distraught at this, because this Metroid that she started to come bonded with died. So you end up going to a station, and you end up getting briefing and all that. And then you're in your ship, and very soon on you get something called a baby's cry. It's a distress signal that's made to get attention. That's its main purpose. So you go to the bottle ship, where you soon find out that a Federation ship is there, and you don't know what's going on. You don't know why you've been summoned here. You soon find out General Adam is here with his squad, and that basically, when he notices who you are, you have a connection with him. Throughout the game, you find out more about it, but essentially, he was your commanding officer. He was Samus's commanding officer back when she was still in the Federation military. So he basically says, if you follow my orders, I'll let you assist me, because I know that your talents are much more better suited for this type of mission, and that I would be amiss not to ask for your assistance because you know what you're doing. So she helps him, and throughout it you're figuring out what's going on. Why is the station there? And as you get deeper into it, you find out this mystery is unfolding. Beyond that, I really can't go into much more details on the story, because much of the story is spoilered. Now, the gameplay, let me get into the gameplay next. The gameplay uses the Wii remote very much like a Nintendo controller. You don't use the nunchuck at all, and basically, for the most part, you play it like you would a classic Metroid game. The game is 3D, but it plays very much like a 2D Metroid game. You can go in a 3D space, but you're usually going back and forth throughout the game. But there are sections of the game that you have to go into first person. So you whip the controller around like normally, like you would like a TV remote, and that goes into first person. And then you can aim, you can shoot things. You can't scan in this game. And the standard control, like the moving, works perfectly flawless. There are no control issues with that at all. The control issues of the game come from first person. That sometimes you'll be pointing at something and you'll have to point down and it will jerk around a little bit. For the most part, it does work. Like during a boss battle, a very late boss battle. I'm not going to go into much detail. During your Ridley boss battle, you have to switch from first and third. I had no problems with that boss battle. I had problems beating Ridley, but I had no problems with the controls working correctly for that boss battle. Whenever I had to switch, it was working fine. Because you never have to focus down, and down I think is the problem, is during the final boss battle you have to shoot on the ground a lot. And whenever I did that, the camera jerked, and my friend thought that was because of the control issues, but I think it's because of that one aspect of it. And ultimately, the controls do work very well. They're very responsive, they're very good, and I like it. One problem I did have with first person, and this is only a very minor gripe, a nitpick, is the fact is there are parts in the game where they force you into first person. You have to look for a certain thing. And this is bad, because usually the thing is this little tiny thing, and if you pass it really quickly, it won't work. You have to find this little tiny thing. It's kind of like Where's Waldo. But, yeah, it's really dumb, and I wish they would have removed that. But other than that, first person works very good. Probably 90% of the time. The 10% is very rare. Another problem somebody brought up is the fact that if you press forward right when you're about to get into right about when you're attacked, you can do a special dodge move, and it's extremely easy to do. Now, yes, if you want a very extremely challenging game, this is not the game for you. This game is actually quite easy. It's not a very challenging game. But you also have to think that this is a Nintendo, and they want it to cater towards the widest audience possible. This is not like... There are some teen games, like Batman Arkham Asylum, that is really a 16-year-old game. It's really not made for 13-year-olds. I would recommend this game to a 10-year-old. It's not that graphical. I mean, yeah, it's not rated E10, but I would certainly want a 10-year-old to play this game. I mean, there's no sexual innuendo, there's no swearing. I think there might be a few minor swear words, but nothing major. There is no blood. I mean, this is not a very violent game, so they wanted to make the control schemes for younger people like 10 and older, to be able to play the game fairly well. Now, yes, it's rated 13, but it's not meant to be challenging, and that's why there's hard mode. And some people say, oh, hard mode, yeah, why should I have to rebeat the game to have hard mode? And I'm like, well, it is a game that you'll probably play multiple times if you like it. So, yeah, like, you can complain that it's too easy of a game. I had a little bit of trouble during bosses, but the point is the main game isn't that difficult, but it isn't that easy. Now, another thing people talk about, and this is fairly early in the game, so I can talk about this. A lot of people mentioned something with, basically, the way you get your items in the game is Adam has to give you permission. Now, a lot of people said this is wrong. They should not have put this in the game. Well, first of all, is Adam essentially hired you to do a job. So Adam has all the right in the world to tell you what to do. He is the commanding officer of this operation, and he is your boss, for better or worse. Now, with that said, there are areas of the game, like the fire area that you go into, and you take damage, and then later on, once you get to a certain point, he authorizes the suit. That makes no sense on any level, in any degree. My friend was saying, oh, weapons, if there are no men around, you should be able to use whatever you want. Well, the thing about it is, you can argue that that's a really bad way of doing things, but the point is they were put into a corner where the traditional way of Samus's getting her items didn't work in this game. Didn't work at all. So they had to create a new way. And as flawed as this way might seem, it's reasonable. It's a reasonable explanation. If they would have done a few other tweaks to it, and if they would have, if you would have got the Varia suit, the fire suit, I don't know, I can't think of its name off the top of my head, I would have had less complaints with this game. Also, something else that my friend brought up which this also is not very much spoiler. It's the fact that there's a picture, which I should have up right now, where you see Samus next to a scientist guy, and she is basically, she looks like she's 2 feet taller than him. And then in the game, there's this black guy who looks like he's 2 feet taller than her. And a lot of people say, oh, they made Samus short. Samus should be 7 feet tall or 6 feet tall. Well, I don't. I never really knew Samus's height, and making her average height, I don't think is a bad thing. And I think that you just expect too much, and that's a lot of the complaints with the game. Is I think people just had too many preconceptions with the game, and that was one of them. And then that's many of what the problems I think with the game are. Is not the game itself. I think it's your preconceptions. You had preconceptions of the character, and the actual reality of it are different than what your preconceptions of. So I did want to get that out of the way. I don't think she's too short in this game. It's my opinion. I should have comparable images. So yeah, I just want to get that out of the way. But as it said, this is a very solid game. I recommend this as a rental. Now, why do I recommend it as a rental? I'll get into that right now. The game takes about 10 hours. If you're not going to replay the game, the game doesn't really have... The game has a little bit of potential to be a speedrun game, but it's not the best speedrun game. So, other than that, it can be beaten fairly easily. It's not a very long game, so you're probably not going to have to replay areas for a very long time. So you'll probably beat this in like 3-4 days. If you play it 3 hours a day, at least. So I can't really recommend it a buy, because it's not worth buying it if you're only going to play it one time. So if you're only going to play it one time, if you're not going to play it a lot the first time you get it, rent it and buy it when it goes cheaper. But other than that, it's still a very solid game. It's still a very high rent. It's not a low rent. I do recommend you rent this game if you can get over the changes they made to Samus' character. If you consider the changes, I don't. It's a very strong and fun game. The story is not bad. The things they did to Samus' character you can consider bad, but like people are saying that this is sexist. Okay, I don't think you get the definition of the word sexist. Anybody who said that, I apologize. And if anybody watching this video wants me to tell you why this is not sexist, I will. This is a good game. This is Samus' character. I apologize that you were getting these visuals about who it is. Also, they do go a little bit in her backstory, not far back, but they do talk about when she was in the military, and they do have a really good story with Adam and Samus. So I do recommend this game. I give this game a 9 out of 10. I was thinking 8.5, but then I thought about it. I give it a 9 out of 10. This is Goku Photo Sim 1. I'll see you next time. YouTube.